Hi there, my name is Lindsay Finkelstein and this is my mind map. Today I'm going to take you through all of the different parts of my mind map, beginning at the section entitled Home and going clockwise around my mind map. To start off, my first branch was entitled Home. I discussed my first book that I ever read, which was called Monsters Love Colors. I read this book at age 2, which would have been in 1993, and truly believed that I was a genius and could read, even though I was really just memorizing the book and impressing my grandmother. In addition, while I was at home and as I was getting older, I was becoming a true reader. I loved the Babysitter's Club's books, which I started reading when I was in 2nd grade. They had all different series, including The Little Sisters, they had the Babysitter's Mysteries, and they had the original Babysitter's Club stories, all of which I truly felt defined me. I was convinced that I was going to be a babysitter, I was going to be a teacher, and this was just my life path that I was destined to be on as well. As I was reading their stories, I was reading my own life story. In addition, while I was home, I was always writing. I would write short stories for fun, I would write stories when I was having a bad day and write about personal accounts, and I would write poems. One of the poems that stands out to me as one of my first poems is my Thanksgiving poem. I remember detailing this story about how it would be a runaway turkey and rolling right off of the table. My father still has it taped downstairs because he thought it was just the funniest thing I had ever written. In addition, I would write poetry when I was feeling upset. In 6th grade, my grandmother passed away, and I wrote her a poem to say goodbye. It was left with her at the funeral. Moving around my mind map, I then looked at my education. I always saw myself as a reader, but there were certain times throughout my education history that I truly feel enhanced this path for me. First, starting in kindergarten, I truly became a reader at age 5, using our ABCs, going every night and doing our homework where I would find different pictures that would start with the letter of the week, which I thought was just the most fascinating assignment one could ever have, and reading phonics readers, where it was predictable text that I could truly read and make sense of. In 1st grade, my love of words continued as I began doing Word of the Day with my teacher, Mrs. Storms. Every day, we had a new word that we were to go to the dictionary and define, and then find a way to use in a sentence. I thought this was truly the most incredible assignment one could be given. Just this week, we actually found my Word of the Day book because we had kept it since it was so special to me. All of this occurred at my first school, Featherbed Lane, which genuinely was a little red schoolhouse. Moving into my later years of schooling, I attended Woodruff Elementary. In 5th grade, my teacher put on what's called the Living Museum. In the Living Museum, you had to pick one character or one person from history to explore, to learn about their life, and then to put on a presentation, pretending as if you were that person. I chose the author Anne M. Martin, the author of the Babysitter's Club's books, which we talked about before. On that day, I became Anne M. Martin, which was a part of my lifelong dream. Later in my schooling, I actually attended Rowan for my undergrad. I went for early childhood education, and my dual major was writing arts. It was there that I continued to write for myself again, doing creative writing, doing tutoring writing, and truly understanding what it was like to write and to teach writing. I'm now approaching my reading practitioner certification through these courses. Within my time as a teacher, I've experienced just one reading program, which I've truly enjoyed. Throughout all of my 4 years, I've been lucky enough to use Writer's Workshop. To use Writer's Workshop, you certainly need a library, so this has been a big task for me over the past few years. I've been attending garage sales, book sales, library sales, any kind of sales that I can to ensure that I'm building my personal classroom library and having enough text for my students to explore and learn to be lovers of literature like I am. Reader's Workshop is based off the notions of Lucy Calkins. I was able to see her speak in New York at Teachers College just for the one-day training. That same day at Teachers College, I was able to watch Patricia Polacco as she gave her speech and discussed how she became a writer. It was a very moving and humbling experience for me. Through the Lucy Calkins approach, we also are accustomed to giving mini lessons, many of which are based off our own experiences with reading. Some of the best lessons I feel like I've done have been partner reading, where I'm able to share my love of reading with my students. Lessons on fluency, where we're able to really show our enthusiasm for reading and for what we are reading. And to do the same activities from mini lessons within our guided reading text, where we can take those little moments that we shared together and the students can show what they know in a really individualized way. I have always run my classroom based off a constructivist approach. The constructivist approach says that humans construct knowledge and meaning from their experiences. To me, that means students really need to have positive literature experiences, much like I did. If students start off their school career, with negative experiences and without a love for literature, there's going to be a huge struggle to really have these students begin to love reading. However, from the constructivist approach, if we use positive experiences, if we're molding human knowledge based off their experiences, the students are going to feel more connected and have more of a chance of having a positive literature experience. Through the constructivist approach, I truly embrace the responsive and collaborative classroom model. The responsive classroom is actually a program that my school is currently using, so I'm very familiar with this aspect. The responsive and collaborative classroom really focuses on having shared experiences between the teachers and the students. These are experiences where the teacher might be the beginning facilitator, but then the students are coming in and are also facilitating discussions. They're asking questions. The students are helping each other respond to these questions. And overall, the students are really sharing knowledge, and we're sharing questioning together. This overall can lead to a really empowering experience for students to become literate human beings. Moving on through my mind map, I then looked at the word study programs I've been lucky enough to teach. I've used Foundations, Project Read, and Orton Gillingham within my time as a teacher. But these experiences have been the first times that I've actually felt like I understood how to read based off decoding and understanding all of those little pieces that go into reading. I was someone who I began to read and I took off. I didn't learn and need to learn all of the phonics rules that so many students do. We have a lot of struggling readers who need to understand the background and why things work, and these programs are really the how and the why. As a teacher now, I can see that, and I feel like I'm understanding that background much more. Through the Orton Gillingham approach, we're learning how to show students how to cut their syllables, how to look at open and closed syllables, how to understand how words fit together, and the sounds that we can expect to hear and make within the English language. I'm actually going to be doing the Orton Gillingham Scholarship experience over the next year as well, so that will also teach me even more about this program, about the way that words work, and really help me to become a better literature teacher. Finally, I look at the writing programs that I've been exposed to. I've also been using Writer's Workshop, which again embraces the mini lessons, as well as the teacher model and the shared writing between students. This is my favorite aspect of writing because I get to share something that I love and experiences that I've had with my students. And then I can even invite them up to have experiences where they get to revise my work or help me to enhance my work by adding details, and students again can have that sense of empowerment that we talked about through the constructivist approach. Finally, Writers Workshop also embraces the celebrations, where writers might be getting their writers' awards, they're sharing their experiences with other writers in the classroom, and they're really getting to feel a sense of accomplishment within their work. Through all of my different experiences at home, my educational experiences starting from kindergarten all the way up to now with Rowan experiences, my reading, writing, and foundations and word studies approaches, as well as the constructivist theory that I've learned to embrace, I feel that I have only improved within my literature. I've become a more literate human being, and I've understood the reasoning for all of the approaches and all the theories that have been out there to teach reading. I feel like I now have a better understanding of how to do this as well. Looking back at my experiences, I think I've been very lucky to have learned the way that I have, and that all of these experiences have really helped me to shape my own opinions about reading, to teach the way that I do, and to ensure that I'm using these theories and these models within my own personal classroom. Thanks for listening.